Congressman Stutzman, how do you technically define that incident? And yes, we are hearing, from the president it was a mistake, but we're also hearing from some other leaders on the Hill that it was a serious breach of national security. What's your personal technical definition of what happened based on what you know?
Yeah, I think it was just a mistake that Michael Waltz made, and he's admitted to that. And, I am sure that, more than anything, they regret that it occurred. But from the quotes that we're seeing that have been released by The Atlantic, that the vice president and the national security team are working together well and to making sure that America is safe. And, we're seeing President Trump bringing peace to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. We're seeing the president bring peace to the Middle East. Obviously, a communication error like this is very unfortunate, and they're going to take every precaution and make sure the protocols are in place that it doesn't happen again.
Speaking of the president, and he's been in office now a few months, he's signed, I think, nearly 100 executive orders, and his overall goal, as he has said, has been getting rid of waste and fraud in the federal government. What's your opinion of how well or how not so well he's done, and how fast this has all happened? What's your opinion of all that?
Well, as I said earlier, the president has hit the ground running, and I'm a budget hawk, and knowing that we have $36 trillion of debt, things have to change. And President Trump knows that, Vice President Vance knows that, Congress, our congressional leadership knows that. This is something that I've worked on for many, many years. When I first came into Congress in 2010, our debt was $9 trillion. When I left in 2017, it was $18 trillion, and now it's $36 trillion. Mr. Ray Dalio, a hedge fund guy from New York, was here in Congress, visited several members of Congress yesterday, and I was in the meeting with him. And he said that if we don't do something soon, we're going to be facing an economic collapse. And so I appreciate these outside voices like Elon Musk and Mr. Dalio and others that are saying Washington's got to get its act together and make sure the budget is balanced. President Trump talks about a balanced budget, and President Trump has always been an advocate for economic growth. And you see the investments that are being made into the United States. It's incredible. And so I think that President Trump, I would give him an A+ in what he's doing to making sure that America gets back on track. The executive orders is something that we in Congress are going to have to codify as many of those as possible. And I know that Speaker Johnson and Senator Thune are working hard to put those bills in the right format to get them to the floor for votes. And so I'm very optimistic. I'm very hopeful and excited that America has the leadership that we've needed for a long time to get America back on track.
You mentioned Elon Musk. Is he the right person for this job? Many people do point out he is a non-elected official with DOGE. What's your opinion on that?
Well, there's a lot of unelected officials in the administration, in the executive branch. There's only 2 elected officials in the executive branch, and that's the president and vice president. And then, of course, his entire cabinet would be unelected but nominated by the president. And the president has assigned Elon Musk and the DOGE team to do something that we've always been asking for. And, I talk about how Governor Mitch Daniels was known as the Blade for George W. Bush when he was the OMB director back in the 2000s. He was Mr. Doge before Doge was cool today. And, Mitch Daniels did the same thing for our state, that he got our budget back in balance. He put Indiana on the right track economically. He made government reforms in order to make sure government was operating more efficiently. Look at the BMV in Indiana. That was due to Mitch Daniels and his leadership. And I think that we have the same type of leadership with President Trump and, his team, including Elon Musk, who I think is one of the most brilliant people in the world today. Look at what he's doing with SpaceX, and look at what he's doing with his companies and Tesla.
Congressman, Friday afternoon in downtown Fort Wayne, that empty chair town hall was held and headed up by 2 state Democratic leaders. They were pointing out, in their opinion, why Republican leaders of Indiana on the Hill aren't setting up enough, at least, town halls for the public. I'd like to get, first of all, your reaction to what took place Friday afternoon, and then ask a couple more related questions, if that's all right.
Sure. Well, first of all, the no-show town hall that I was apparently invited to was set up by the Democrat Party. And I think that, it's unfortunate that those town halls just break out to be shouting matches, and they're not truly constructive for the rest of the constituents. So during the break last week, I was traveling around the district, visiting constituents in a format that I believe is constructive and respectful. As we're seeing these town halls erupt into chaos, I don't think that's constructive at all. And so,
what kind of format are you using to meet with your constituents right now?
Yeah, so we do open door meetings at our offices. We visit different venues around the district, whether it's a senior living facility. I like to have a one-on-one conversation. And I think also having one-on-one conversations with constituents truly allows them to share what's really on their mind and on their heart. These town halls, I think, can oftentimes be some person that, is kind of takes over the entire event and through a yelling match. And we're seeing that all over the country. And I just don't think that that's the way we as Hoosiers communicate. We are respectful. We are always willing to listen to each other generally. But I think that this year, as a town hall was set up with the Democrat Party, and it was a partisan event rather than a format where we can truly have a good conversation.
Have you set up what would be classified by you in your group as town halls before? And do you publicize them that way?
Generally, I have never done town halls in the sense of what they're considering it to be a town hall. I've always done events there at my office, allowing for people to come in and spend 5 minutes together and actually have a conversation. These town halls have just really broken down into shouting matches, and they're not constructive at all. And I don't think they're really profitable for anybody. And so instead of letting the temperature rise to where the rest of our constituents see an event like that take place, where the people are just shouting at their elected officials, let's actually have a real conversation and sit down and talk about what is the issue that's bothering you. I know the Democrat Party in Northeast Indiana doesn't like President Trump. I know there's 35% of the voters in the 3rd district that voted for someone else other than me. But I also had 65% of the voters vote for me in the 3rd district. And I'm hearing from a lot of folks that support what President Trump is doing. So I know there's a loud group of folks right now that are frustrated. They don't like what President Trump's doing, but they didn't vote for him either, so they shouldn't expect him to do what they're hoping for.
You used the word apparently just a moment ago. Were you invited to Friday afternoon's event?
I don't know that I was. I didn't see it come across my desk.
All right. And one more thing on this topic. On both political sides with these town halls, we've seen stories in the national media about the arguing and the raised voices that you brought up. Is there any safety factor that comes into play with this for you personally?
Well, I think it's safety for everybody, at an event like that. We want our constituents to be safe. I want to make sure that my staff is safe. And so whenever there's going to be a public event, safety is our top of mind for us as we would put any event together. And so our office is always something that we take very seriously to make sure that our staff and constituents that visit there are safe. And that's where I think a lot of times in politics, unfortunately, there's the bullies that come out and they really push away the people that have a real issue that needs help with a VA claim, or they need help with their Social Security, or they need help with their passport. There's so many issues that we help our constituents with on a daily basis that are never reported, that are never made public by the Democrat Party or by the Republican Party or myself. I mean, because it's part of my job to make sure that we are representing and helping our constituents in the time of their need. And so I believe right now, obviously, it's apparent in the polls that the Democrat Party does not like what President Trump is doing. But I've been an advocate for this for many, many years, and I know they disagree with that. But the fact that we have $36 trillion of debt is a problem or a consequence of years and years of spending, primarily by Democrat presidents and Congresses. Republicans have been complicit with some of this, and I've called them out as well. But we are going to make sure under this administration and with the circumstances with Speaker Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House and with John Thune as the Senate leader, that there's a new sheriff in town and there's a new day in town. And we need that. We need reform in Washington more now than ever.
Okay. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you again.
Take good care of you and your family. Good to see you.